but is this lawsuit really about protecting Californians, or is it more political theater from the governor with potential national ambitions?
That's an interesting question. The lawsuit filed in federal court argues President Trump's use of emergency powers to impose tariffs, especially on China, Mexico, and Canada, oversteps his authority and should require congressional approval. Newsom says these tariffs have already cost California billions and are putting the state's economy at risk. The Trump administration firing back, saying Newsom should focus on California's real problems: crime, homelessness, and affordability. Here to discuss, Tom Manzo, president of the California Business and Industrial Alliance, and Gloria Romero, former Democratic leader in the California State Senate and now a registered Republican. Welcome to you both, and thanks so much for coming on. Okay, Gavin Newsom versus Donald Trump again. Gloria, start us off. You've seen California politics up close. Talk to me about this lawsuit. Is this really in line with where Californians stand today?
Absolutely not. The biggest threat to the California economy is Gavin Newsom himself. This is actually just part of his political gimmick. He's launching a 2028 Resist Trump campaign, and he's using taxpayer dollars to launch this. Remember, at the beginning of the year, he set aside, not in our name, but in his own name, $25 million to, quote unquote, fight the Trump agenda that almost half of California voted for. So this is for him. It's not for us. As you pointed out, there are many failures and threats to the economy that are being driven by Governor Newsom himself, and that's what he should focus on.
Tom, doesn't California already have their own deficit issue that the governor would be focusing on? Also, not to mention adding illegals to Medicare in that state so they can receive benefits that are from taxpayers. There are already issues in that state that he seemingly has an issue, that seemingly Californians have issues with, but yet once Trump stepped forward on a federal level to implement these tariffs, now he's concerned about money and hurting those that live in the state. Tom, how do you read that?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of nuances with the tariffs right now. I'm very familiar with manufacturing, the steel industry, you know, so there's pros and cons on both sides. But to be wasting taxpayer money on, obviously, political theater, as you said before, is what I have a huge issue with, and I would think what most Californians have a huge issue with. I mean, if you look at, he is suing and, you know, saying violation of separation of powers. You know, they have one of the worst laws in the state, in the country, called the Private Attorney General Act. It's a complete violation of separation of powers, where private citizens can sue employers on behalf of the Attorney General. They step in the shoes of the Attorney General. Look at the separation of powers, how it was violated during COVID, when so many businesses were closed, shut down. Religious institutions weren't allowed to have prayer services. So all of a sudden now there's an issue with separation of powers, and it's absolutely, he has just got his eyes on becoming president of the United States, and he needs to really focus on this state, because we have way too many issues. Homelessness, you know, minimum wage, the fast food industry is getting wrecked. It's getting destroyed right now over a $20 an hour minimum wage. Yeah. So things need to change, and the only way they're going to change is when he leaves.
Also,